Good evening, everyone. We'll be underway in just a minute. People coming in, lots of chat underway already. rapidexecutive.com/live if you're joining us live. rapidexecutive.com/replay if you are on the replay, and you can grab all of the details from tonight's session. My name's Nathan. I'm from Rapid Startup. I'll be your host this evening. We'll get underway in just about 2 minutes. But if you are live, rapidexecutive.com/live, come on over to the chat. There is a video and a chat box over there where you can say hi to everyone. We've got a heap of people in here tonight. Obviously, everyone keen to hear about webinars. My name's Nathan. We'll be talking about webinars tonight on tonight's session and how you can use webinars to grow your business for free, and also some additional things where you can scale that up as well. I'll be covering everything tonight, from starting, from growing, from launching, from building a webinar to running your webinar to driving attendance, scaling it out, selling products, all that sort of stuff. So some really cool stuff tonight. So stick around and we'll jump on that. Again, if you're on live at the moment, rapidexecutive.com/live is the best place to watch that. You can watch it on a mobile and chat at the same time as well, in the chat box below. You can chuck your questions in there. A heap of people over there at the moment. We'll jump in just a minute and say hi to everybody. But there's a few people coming in. I'll wait 1 more minute till the clock ticks over. We should have everyone coming in for the 8 o'clock boost as well. All right, my name's Nathan. I'm from Rapid Startup. We'll get underway in just a minute. Tonight we're talking about webinars. This is a bonus session tonight. We've only got 2 sessions left in our regularly scheduled program that gets us through till the end of the year. It's been a huge year for me, for us, for our businesses. There has been some students who have launched their business this year as well, part of the meetup group as well. It's fantastic. It's good stuff. Everyone following along on the Rapid Startup framework for this year. It's been super, super fun. I'm excited to close out the year and get us into 2017 with a bang as well. So love to cover off some of those things. As we get into launch, we'll also be preparing for our next big launch as well for next time we run through. But I'll cover that all in a sec. Few people coming in now. As I said, rapidexecutive.com/live if you are live. If you are watching this on the replay, rapidexecutive.com/replay, and you can grab all of the notes. And there's also a spot you can reach out and ask any questions to me personally on there as well. All right, we'll jump over and say hi to me. Hi, everyone. My name is Nathan. I'll be your host this evening as we talk about webinars. A little bit of inception here. I'm talking about webinars and how to run webinars for your webinars to webinars, something. Cool. All right, we've got a few people in here tonight. We've got Luke. Where did everyone say they were coming in from? Sorry, I've got to jump back there. We've had a lot of chatting tonight, which is great. Luke was coming in from Perth. Sorry, Luke. Barry from Perth. We've got Ben from the Gold Coast. We had a couple others in here as well as I get through there. Super website, Luke. Really, really, I had a quick look at that while you were talking about that. Looks really, really good. We can chat about how you could potentially do a launch as well, maybe even a webinar. We'll cover up a couple of things on that tonight. G'day, Barry. Nice to see you. Cool. All right, let's get into tonight's session. So tonight we are talking about webinars. I've been running webinars now for almost a year. Pretty consistently. I missed one. I actually did miss one. I would have loved to have said I ran a webinar every day for a year. Every week. I started running 2, so I can technically say that I have run one every week for the entire year, because I started running a second one. So that's kind of made up for any gaps. But I did miss one because I went to a concert. Shane might join us tonight. I went with one of our meetup members. Shane, we went and watched the Deftones, which was awesome. So we did have that one break. So we are talking about webinars tonight. Normally we go through the 7-day startup framework from Dan Norris. Fantastic book. I read that book about 2 years and 2 months ago, and launched my first 7-day startup probably a week after I read the book. So these things work. These work really well. So we follow that framework. I've tweaked it a little bit up, brought it a bit forward and put it into some actionable steps as well, and shown you how I've run my 7-day startups in the past. We run through this every fortnight. We go through one of the 7 days. Last week we talked about, I think we talked about marketing. we'll get into a recap tonight in just a minute. I'm pointing over to my notes. We go marketing, then metrics, then launch. So the last session of the year will actually be launch. That's right near Christmas. So I'm in two minds of whether people are actually going to be able to show up on like the 21st of December. If not, that's okay. We'll move it to the first week of Jan. But if so, if you guys want to launch at the end of the year, awesome. We can do one of those. That'll be great. If not, that's no worries. I got a heap of things to show you tonight on webinars, so I really want to get into it and stop blabbering about. So shut up, Nathan, and get into it. I'm going to share my screen over to some slides. I'll talk you through it. If you want to ask any question about the specific slides, chuck them in the chat box, rapidexecutive.com/live. If you have any generic questions, chuck them in there anyway, and I'll try and save them till the end. So we'll have some time for Q&A if I shut up and get into it. All right, guys. Okay. In this session, we'll be covering, that doesn't say marketing in 2016, everybody. It's a figment of your imagination. 3 minutes of online webinars. So you need a studio and heaps of equipment. You need 10 plus tools and a whole heap of cash and dollars to spend on those. And driving attendance is really difficult. So I'll break down those 3 myths for you tonight. Stick around because I'll show you exactly how to create webinars. I've got a free bonus for you as well, an entire system you can use to start a webinar. Excuse me. All right, so this is the recap from last week's session. We did talk marketing, so I did get that right, so that's excellent. 3 actions for marketing. So finding customers is a long and difficult process. We covered converting new customers requires one-to-one and in-person. And a quick shout out, I had a bit of a shout out to a network marketing friend of mine who asked me about that. So I put that in perspective for him. And a lost customer is a lost customer. So we talked a little bit about tracking as well. If you are new here, this is the business model matrix that I put together for you all. It's available in tonight's notes, which is, if you just scroll down a little bit, there's a big button that says download tonight's presentation. And it's a free PDF. You grab everything from tonight's session in that. It's free for you. You don't need to put your email address or anything like that. Inside that, every week I put the business model matrix. It's important to know your why, and it's also important to understand what you're getting into. If you wanted to start a blog, is it because you wanted to start a blog? Where do you actually want to go with that? You want to sell products? What does that actually mean? I've got some things on retailers. I've got some real world examples for every single one of these, and a little bit of a breakdown on what the market size potential is, simplicity and ease of entry into those sorts of businesses as well. So there's some fantastic stories in there, exactly what I guess a best case scenario for some of those, but a real one as well, not a sort of airy fairy, this guy made $1 million overnight kind of thing. These are real sort of common people and how they've been successful. And a lot of the time it's been a bit of a hard work, and they've shown a lot of that. So these are great real world examples you can have a look and sort of test your ideas and your business models against. All right, let's get into a bit of a recap of last week's session on marketing. It does actually play into tonight, so these kind of go well together. In next week's session, we'll actually cover some more on automation, copywriting funnels and things like that, and also some tracking. So being tracked online is not as creepy as it sounds. It's becoming more and more commonplace. And as we need more and more touches from brands and products and things to be able to actually know, like, and trust them, it's becoming more and more important for websites and you and yourself and your business to be able to chase down potential leads and sort of bring them back to your website and your sales pages and e-commerce stores and all that sort of stuff. So we cover that in a bit more detail in next week's session. So stick around for that. All right, everyone needs to be a media company. Content, it's so important, so important. What sort of content are you creating? How do you create your content? So another book by Dan Norris. So he built his 7-day startup and launched it and grew it using the content machine. The content machine was so well oiled that he actually wrote a book about what the content machine was. So every time he builds something, he writes a book about the process. After the content machine, he used the content machine again to grow a Kickstarter campaign that launched the Black Hops Brewery. It's a physical brewery. That was his third. And he wrote a book about that as well, which was also another bestseller, which is awesome. So this guy is excellent. He's a great guy to follow. I'm in his mastermind. G'day, Shane. We were talking before about potentially doing a live case study tonight on someone launching their business. Yep, Luke, there we are. And I have been known to sick some of my students on, or sick Dan onto some of my students. I recently took one of my coaching clients' websites through to Dan. Dan did a live breakdown of his website on Facebook Live, and we sent it over to my coaching client. He doesn't pull any punches, so it's good fun. So if you guys are interested in that sort of stuff, let me know, and I will get a celebrity review of your website and things like that for you as well. He's really good at breaking down businesses. He's really good at looking at your systems. He's really good at breaking down content. Obviously, he wrote the book on it and that sort of stuff. So he is fantastic. So where do you get these content ideas for your content machine? Right. So this is probably one of my favorite tools. I use it daily. I probably used it about an hour ago for something I was working on. I'm still using the free one, which is pretty crazy. It actually is quite expensive. I'm not affiliated with it at any point. I don't think they even do affiliates. It's such a powerful tool. It gives you probably 3 or 4 searches a day. So I try and limit those. I try and be mindful of when I'm actually going to use it. But all that to say, this is a search engine that tells you how viral content is. Okay, so that's fine. How do you create viral content? Well, you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. If you're looking to curate content for your customers, you haven't written the content yet, but you want to have something on your profile, which is important. Not only is it important to show your customers, Ben would love a celebrity review of my site. Yep, no problems. That would be freaking awesome. Yeah, cool guys. We can sort that out. I'll tell you about how to do that a little bit later on. All right, so breaking down your you can have a look at your competitors' content. You can look at the content in your market and share that out. As I said, it's not only necessary to have that for proof on your page to show some sort of content. Even if you haven't written it yourself, you can curate and share content that's actually doing really well. Sharing content that's doing well is also going to talk to the algorithms within the systems and the social media platforms. If you're looking to grow a Facebook page, going and finding massively shareable content that already exists rather than create it yourself will start to tell the algorithm that, hey, this guy's got some pretty cool stuff. Curating is still value. Curating is still helping clients. You're not writing the content yourself. You're not there yet. That's fine. You share content that's actually doing well. It reflects well on you. You could go to Google and search for, let's use the example that's on the page here. This is a search for big data, and it returns big data is the next big thing in marketing from the Harvard Business Review. Right, that had 1,500 shares on Facebook, 2.5 on LinkedIn. Obviously, it's a LinkedIn type content, and to Twitter actually, because Twitter's a bit more business focused sometimes as well. But in total, across those social networks that show their shares, it had 6,500 odd shares. So let's use that example of big data. If I go to Google and type in big data, there's no way I'm going to get information as targeted as that. What content is being shared on big data? If you went to Google and typed what content is being shared on big data, you might find some of the articles that come up in here, but not in this fantastically easy fashion. It actually gives you a whole list. So this is cropped off at the top of the page, but you'll have a whole list of articles that will obviously that have already got their share. It tells you how well they're shared. If you just did it in Google, you wouldn't have a clue how well they're being shared. It's Google's algorithm, as it could be on-page SEO, it could be backlinks to that. They could be paid. They could be, black hat. This could be all sorts of things, but you can't lie about Facebook shares. So this is really a good way to find curatable content. And at the same time, if you're putting in your keywords, you can even put your competitors' URLs in here to see what your competitors' content is doing. I use this, probably one of my first forays into this and seeing the power of this. I launched a matcha green tea e-commerce store. It was actually my second 7-day startup. It wasn't as successful as my first one, but it did reasonably well, and on the back of some content marketing, which is why I'm telling you guys about this. I used BuzzSumo. I typed in green matcha tea, which was it's the actual type of tea it was. Now, the first article that came up was actually shared 600,000 times on Facebook alone. And I think every other platform was around about the same as well, which was incredible. Now, the title was Matcha, the the green tea every woman must be drinking. And then I think in brackets it had Gwyneth Paltrow. This was actually this was actually an article, I think, from like Oprah's blog or something crazy like that. So if you're going to write an article on your green tea blog or your green tea website, what do you think the title might be? What do you think I used as my title? I didn't have the Gwyneth Paltrow in there, but green tea that every woman should be drinking was the article that I wrote, and that article went off. So it's giving you the ability to have a look at what sort of content is already resonating, and it's even giving you headlines that are working. So people are clicking on these. It's not only the fact that they found the content useful, they actually click through the article. They've actually taken the time, the attention is sitting there. They've taken the time to actually click over the article as well. It's got their attention. So a really fantastic tool. And probably, as I said, I've used it an hour ago. I've used it a couple of times today. I think I've run out of my free searches today. But sitting in my toolkit on speed dial, this one, it's a fantastic one for content. Again, you can search for across websites. You can grab something, a website, a common or popular website in your niche, type it in there, and it'll tell you the type of content that's on there or doing really well. All right, we talked a little bit about your strategy and not only who are you marketing for. So lots of people talk about the fact that you need to find your target market or your target customer or your ideal customer or your customer avatar or something like that. I go a little bit further and say you need to find your best customer. So I run a couple of e-commerce stores, and I also have my coaching business and a few other bits and pieces as well. I've got some, I've even still got some corporate clients from my old days that stick around and get me back every now and again for a couple of days here and there. My best customer is the one that doesn't have to call me 55 times before they decide to buy something. My best customer is not someone that complains about every single component and part of the journey, from potentially one of my e-commerce clients that calls to make an order, even though they know it's a website. They complain about the delivery. They complain about the packaging. They complain about every single thing. They're not my best customer. Now, they might be my target. That's fine. But if my market was only the target and I didn't have any of those best customers, how difficult is my business? How much more expensive is my business? How much lower my margins? How least how do you think my happiness is going to be if I have a target base or customer base of just those other clients? So it's important to find your best customer as well. Who do you want to work with? Who's going to light you up? Who's going to make you happy to work with? Who's going to help you get out of bed in the morning? If you have a whole list of customers that you wake up in the morning and go, oh, I have to serve these people, it's going to be so hard, they're going to make it so much difficult than it needs to be. They might be a target customer, but they're not your best customer. Right, moving on. So where are your customers? There's plenty of places you can use to find these. I urge you, if you aren't, I used to be anti-Facebook. I still have Facebook news feed eradicator on Chrome, so I don't see all of the vortex of come away and scroll with me in Facebook. But I do use it for business. And groups, Facebook groups, are still one of the most powerful ways to find customers. Now, I have heard horror stories of people getting their accounts banned and being kicked out of groups for being spammy and all that sort of stuff. So don't be that guy or gal. Go in and add value. And everyone tells you that you need to go and add value, but it's not that hard. Treat it like a bunch of friends. If you go in your friend's house, you don't walk in and say, hey, you want to buy my stuff? Unless you're running a multi-level marketing company, you can be those people as well, but I don't recommend that either. It's definitely not the best way to grow a business. But you can find out really easy where to hang out. Facebook groups are a great place to start. One of the first questions I always ask is, if it's somewhere I'm trying to find out more about where these people are, I could ask, what's the best X? So let's say we were in a marketing group, and I'm trying to find out where these guys hang out. Now, I know they're hanging out in the Facebook group, but I might not want to use the Facebook group to to do any sort of selling or anything, I might want to find out exactly where else they are. One of the first questions I'm going to ask is, hey guys, who's the best Facebook ad guru out there? And right away, I'm going to get a whole list of people come back. It's completely innocuous question. It's a really, really easy way to sort of break the ice, and I haven't asked anything untoward. I haven't been spammy at all. I'm saying, hey, who's the best? Who uses Facebook ads services or blogs or anything out there? You get a whole list of people return back and say, oh, you got to go see this guy, and you got to read this girl's thing, and you got to go and do this course from this guy. You're going to get a list of places these people are already hanging out. So it's another way of doing it as well. Luke says, I love the newsfeed eradicator. Yeah, dude, I found that about 6 months ago. It's the best thing ever. That actually got me over the fear of using Facebook. I hated it so much. I knew I needed to use it for business. I actually joined up Facebook as a business account so I could avoid everything. I still needed to use the login on the front end, but I actually saved the link that took me straight into the back end because I needed to use Facebook for ads. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit less like that at the moment because Facebook needs you to have all of your bases covered. They need you to use your personal profile as well to give you a little bit of a boost. So I found that out the hard way. Anyway, I'm getting over it. But the newsfeed eradicator is heaven, especially after the last couple of weeks of the elections and all sorts of craziness going on. I'm glad to have missed 95% of that. All right. And who has that audience already? Who has your target customer? Who has your best customers already? Now, this doesn't mean just competition. So you have competition, of course, but it could be influencers. Who's in front of them already? Who do they talk about? Who do they talk about regularly? If you can get that person to talk about you, guess who's going to be number one on their list next time they ask? So who does this really well, and who could you model that kind of process on? So one of Inside Dan's mastermind is a guy called Nathan Chan. So he was one of the founding members, actually, which is a hilarious word. I'm sorry for the play on words there. It's not intended to be a pun. He is the founder of Founder Magazine. He is the owner, the originator. He started Founder Magazine. Their first issue had Richard Branson interviewed in it, which is pretty epic. He's had everyone from Tony Robbins to I know Oprah's on his list. He's got everyone that he's interviewed for entrepreneurship. He's got this magazine. It's really cool. He does a podcast. He does all sorts of stuff, and now he is just crushing it everywhere he goes. So he recently got into Instagram. I think earlier this year, he started his Instagram profile and really started hitting it hard using the influencer model. So he wasn't huge, and you'll see here he's got I think I took the screenshot in August. He had 710,000 followers because he was talking about helping people launch their own Instagram followings. And he was using the influencer example I mentioned before, which was he would go to people, if say he had 5,000 followers already or 500 followers right back at the start, he would go to someone with double what he had. So he'd go to someone with, or a whole heap of people with 1,000 followers when he had 500 and say, hey guys, love your stuff. Can I share it on my profile? Would you mind sharing mine? Simple questions like that, really, really simple. If you only had 1,000 followers and someone came to you with 500 followers, then it's not too big a gap to ask. And of course, they might want some of your 500 followers to follow their stuff as well. So it's a win-win. So he went from, I think he had a couple of thousand followers in the start of the year to 710,000 followers in August. And I looked yesterday and he has almost 1 million followers. I thought he had 1 million. He has almost 1 million followers. It's very close. I was going to take another screenshot if it hit 1 million, but I'll have to do that next time. I'm sure he'll be up there in a couple of weeks. And that was all through that exact same thing. So share for share, like for like, this sort of stuff. And it's all based on influencers. So finding the people in your target market who already have your target market and getting in front of those, sharing your stuff out. And it's almost like a joint venture with silent partners. It's really cool. The other thing is competition. Now, when I have shared this tool in the past, people have been pretty blown away with it. I will be really quick on this one this time, but I urge you to go and check it out. So there's a link there. It's, again, not affiliated with this whatsoever. It is one of the coolest tools on the web. It works really well for people that have a little bit of traffic. Now, obviously, Founder has a lot. I just did a bit of a breakdown of Founder while we were talking about him, but one of my websites has about 1,000 hits a day, and it shows up really well. One of my other website has about 50 to 100 hits a day, and this tool just does not cope at all with that. So it's not enough. So if you want to do a competition breakdown, find someone that has some sort of traffic. It doesn't work for people who are using their websites for as a glorified business card, like your local cleaners and things like that. They wouldn't have enough traffic for this one to work if that's your competition. But if you have a competition that has a decent level of traffic, then you can have a look at everything from where they're getting their traffic from, which is one way to, as Russell Brunson calls it, funnel hack them. So if they are getting their traffic from a whole bunch of referrals for blogs, you could go to those blogs and guest post. You could go to those blogs and ask to advertise. You could go to those blogs and ask to get a link. Can you share my thing? That will get some of that referral traffic. So for Founder Mag, 16% of their traffic comes from referrals, from people actually linking to them, which is epic. Now, search. Search includes paid, but it doesn't include the display paid. So if you go and have a look on similarweb.com, you can type in any URL in there and it'll give you most of this data, which is really cool. But one of the bonuses for this is you can actually see the search terms. You can pay for all of them, or it gives you the top 10 anyway for free. But you can also look at the paid search terms. So if these guys are using paid traffic, you can see what kind of words they're paying for. And you can go into something like Google Keyword Planner or Google AdWords Keyword Planner and check out exactly how much they could potentially be paying for that as well. And if they're paying pennies on the dollar to get 33% of their traffic through Google, you could pay a few pennies more and get all that traffic yourself. Pretty cool, huh? All right, the last thing is, what are their pain points? So this is where you can ask your target market, and that's things like, hey guys, who's using Facebook ads and what are you struggling with? Who's running webinars and what's the worst thing about running webinars? Who has a chiropractic business and they are struggling to get leads? So you're not coming across as a salesperson, you're just asking them. You need to listen to what they're struggling with. And probably the most important thing is, how did they describe their problem? So I'm having an issue with getting leads into my chiropractor's practice. I'm having trouble getting patients with high levels of problems. Okay, so if I turned around to you and said, I can help you get a whole bunch of customers with high level problems, it's going to sound like I'm talking to you. If I turn around to you and said, hey, I can blow up your chiropractor business, you're going to say, well, what are you talking about? I don't want to blow it up. You need to use the language that they're using to be able to turn back around and offer your solution to them. And I think this is the last one on marketing. So we'll get into a few more details here that'll run into the webinars, but probably last but not least, and I heard this originally from the 4-hour work week, which was years and years and years ago, from Tim Ferriss. I'm sure he wasn't the first one to say it, but the 3-star review system on Amazon is epic. I also run an Amazon business, so I have some physical products up there. Not only is it gold for those, but it's gold for anything. You can look for books on topics. If you're selling a physical product, if you're looking at doing an information product, if you're selling a service, someone has written a book about that service, and you can go and look at the 3-star reviews and say, hey, they missed out this whole section on blah, 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 and it's the most important thing. Why would they put that out? And then you could turn around and offer that service and know that there's a gap in the market. All right, as I said, some of these things will run into the webinars as well. So social media marketing. Do I need to be on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, Anchor, After School? A whole bunch of new ones, isn't there? Every road looks good if you don't know where you're going. So a quick look into these, and we'll actually cover a couple of them in the webinar side as well. So I am not a fan of Snapchat. I literally have not had time to do it. I played around with it for a little while and it annoyed me. So I'm not a huge fan of Snapchat, but I know that most people are, and that's attributed to the fact that it's probably one of the biggest trending apps of 2016. It does skew younger, and it's one of those like Facebook when your grandma joined. It is getting older. It initially had no marketing, which was a great start point, so people felt safe, but that's changing, obviously. So it's definitely going to be ruined by marketers very soon, but that's a good thing for us in business because it'll make more sense for us as well. So being able to monetize out of Snapchat. I recently went to Kerwin Ray's event. He's like the Aussie version of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he made something like $50,000 in an hour on playing with Snapchat. So it's definitely has the ability to monetize. All right, we're going to cover a little bit more on Facebook Live tonight, but needless to say, Facebook Live has totally taken over in this space. It's epic. We'll cover that a little bit later on as well. Instagram, again, has brought out the best of Facebook to a different platform. Obviously, Instagram owned by Facebook. The ad platform on Instagram is tremendous. It's tremendously expensive, but it's tremendous. They have just brought out their own live streaming app as well. And they recently changed their algorithm to be able to filter the fire hose problem that Twitter was having. So that they definitely are forced to be reckoned with at the moment. So if you're not already on Instagram for your biz, you need to be. I recently opened up a few new accounts to start driving some more of that traffic that exists out there. It is not that difficult to grow Instagram followers at the moment. What's breaking? The fact that they opened a live stream thing, which basically it's killed Periscope almost overnight. Now, if they could get their tech working, Facebook Live crashes a lot. Periscope is still very stable, but adding all of those features basically native into Instagram and native into Facebook, more people are sitting on those. The friction of jumping out of one platform and into another is a lot less between Instagram and Facebook, between those and others. So to jump out of Facebook to go into Periscope to go live is going to be enough to stop a lot of people from doing it, which is why Instagram and Facebook are going to own everything. All right, some more of the best campaigns from 2016. That's just a offsite link. You can go and read that. It's amazing. It's deep, but if you want to look at where the Internet Trends report from Kleiner Perkins put us for 2016 and heading into 2017, it's a great read. All right, so we also quickly covered off some e-commerce and drop shipping stuff as well. So how to do marketing for a physical product. I know Shane's on here. He's doing physical products as well. Shane, if you would like, you can jump on to rapidstartup.io/e-commerce to see how this works and grab that for free. I built that entire e-commerce funnel, which you can steal. You can throw your product in the front or your product review in the front. The whole thing is really simple to use. But there's definitely some easy marketing you can do with those as well. We quickly touched on affiliate marketing and how to build affiliate marketing funnels to sell other people's products, even if you don't have your own product, and how to draw the marketing for that as well. All right, let's get into tonight's session. How are you feeling, guys? Let's get into webinars and how to run webinars. If you have any questions on webinars, how to run them, or anything, what sort of topics, all that sort of stuff, chuck them into the chat box, rapidexecutive.com/live. If you want to chuck it in the chat box and let me know, I'll try and answer them tonight while I grab a drink. All right. So how to build and host a webinar. Webinars are the fastest way to reach and connect with your target market. Why is that? Webinars are a really easy yes. I never was a huge fan of videos until I discovered Periscope. I found the immediate touch the live nature, the ad hoc, the fact that I might come back to you guys and have a quick chat about this. I'm in a room in my house. I'm on a webcam. I'm talking to a whole bunch of strangers. Some of you aren't strangers, but that's okay. This is not like normal about 5 years ago, right? But it works. It works because I can connect with you. We can chat amongst ourselves. It's kind of like we're all just sort of hanging out. And that works really well. And I'm not pushing stuff. I'm not selling stuff. I'm not saying, hey, come buy some of these things over here. You can if you like. But it's it's not as pushy. It's not as smarmy. They can be done really, really well. I've seen them done incredibly well. Now, for webinars for sales, you're not meant to be teaching people stuff because you get them out of if you get them into teach mode, you get them out of sales mode. So I'm here teaching. That's the purpose of these aren't sales, but majority of the time they do lead to sales. The best ones that I've been on are this ad hoc, hey, I've got this really cool thing, or I had this epiphany the other day, and they share that. And to have a conversation like this really one-on-one and sort of relaxed, and there's whole bunches of ums and ahs, and like it's not scripted. Like I used to listen. I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I think I listen to hours every week of podcasts. But after a while, they start to sound really scripted. Now, there's some people that get on and that they've basically hit record and gone, hi, here's what I want to talk about today. And that comes across, and that's really cool. I found that a lot of webinars are exactly the same. And I feel like I'm actually talking to that person. You're kind of mind melding with them, and you're kind of getting in their head and that sort of stuff. Shane says, I'm definitely interested in running my own webinars. It's one of my goals for next year, setting up. Cool. You can run one now. You could run one and connect with us. You can, I actually think you can hit like join and come on here and have a chat. Like, how cool is that? I love webinars. I really love webinars. And they're really easy to do. So let's jump back and keep going. As I said, they are the easiest way to connect and the fastest way to grow a business. And you can do it for free. You can do it right now. You could grab your phone, open up Facebook. Don't scroll. Just go to the chat button, the first box. Don't look at the big red 7 or 8 or 15 or 65 thing in the corner. Just hit go live. You'll be asked to type in some words, and that's it. And you'll be live. You'll be live to the world. Now, the words aren't as important. In Periscope, they actually they have a bearing on the algorithm and how your stuff gets shown, because Periscope's trying to push the ecosystem out. The Facebook is a little bit more algorithmically based, and there's a lot of marketers on Facebook. So this will go out to your immediate network. Now, if it's the first time, it actually has quite a bit of a boost. So you can get out on your network for the first time really well. So if you find something really cool and you've got something reasonably decent to talk about, just going to bore everyone to death. Hey, I had this really cool epiphany today. I was here. I found this. This went through my head and it got me to here. It's a really simple formula, but you'll capture people's attention, and it's just like you're having a conversation with them. Now, if that gets shared, anyone that gets shared with will also then be part of your network. Facebook is pushing live videos so hard, you will get boosted if you do things right and you start. So I put this video up, this picture up for, I guess, clarity as well. So this was a Facebook Live that Gary then shared on his profile afterwards. So he was live sitting in the car. He said, hey guys, I want to talk to you about stuff. I think this was just after the election. So he went to London to see his VaynerMedia in London, and he had a quick word on, like, kind of nothing word on Trump getting in. He wasn't talking about Trump in particular, but it went kind of viral, like nearly everything he does. and it just got shared out. But it's just him saying, hey, this is what I was thinking about. That is how easy you can run a webinar. You could run that straight from Facebook Live. Now that video is available as well. You get a whole bunch of stats built in the back of Facebook. Facebook wants you to use video. They love video. Video gets shared way more than pictures. Video is more compelling. Video's got more depth in the content, and you can reuse it. You can reuse stills from it as images. You can download the words from it and turn that into blog posts. Like there's so much you can do with a Facebook Live. So you get all the stats. You can reshare videos that are live on a post later, so they don't necessarily have to expire. And you can download that video and use it elsewhere as well. You could embed that on a page inside your website, and boom, you've got a webinar built inside your website already as well. So Facebook gives you a little API-able thing that you can plug on your page, and that video will be visible from there as well. I did have some issues doing that recently. They're trying to stop that because they think that you're trying to pull people away from Facebook, but they're getting better with that as well. People are obviously working around it. So do you need a whole bunch of tools to launch a webinar? No, you need your phone. If you've got a phone and the internet, you can be live. You can go live. You can pull a bunch of those together. And the beauty of that is the live ones do go away. So even if you don't get it right the first time, which you might not, and that's fine. That's a fear you have to conquer yourself. I can't help you conquer that fear, but trust me, everyone goes through it. You'll feel much better on the other side, regardless of how well it goes, because you'll end up being able to do more. But you need to take the first step and actually do one. But even if it goes horribly wrong, it'll just get relegated to the bottom, and you can just hit the delete button and no one will see it anyway. So you don't need to stress about it. All right, so you can go live for free right now and start a webinar. Now, I use something a little bit more professional for mine, and I mean professional because I can actually use some equipment. I only have a webcam, so it's not a studio by any stretch of the imagination. I have a little, here, let me show you my setup. But I'm using YouTube Live because I like YouTube. I am trying to grow a YouTube channel, not specifically, but I like the Google side of that. And I hadn't had a lot of SEO on my site, so YouTube Live it is for me. I also like some of the functionality in there, which I'll get to in a second. But I use a Rode Smart Lab, hide my little broken finger there, as my thing. It's just sitting on a bench here, and I'm talking to it. I'm assuming the quality is pretty good. People have said they've been able to hear me, so that's good enough. If you can hear me, that's fine. I'm not using an encoder. So Ben's asked, what encoder are you using for YouTube Live? Let me show you the, if I pull that over there, you guys should be able to see it. I can't see it anymore, but if I pull it over there and just share my screen back. So the beauty of YouTube Live is this sharing back and forth. I can share different screens around. I can actually share with specific people. I can bring other people on. That's what I love about YouTube Live. It's the flexibility is there, a whole bunch of stuff. So this is youtube.com/live. We'll take you to the, what's that called? Stream Now. This is Stream Now. Sorry for the, how bad that, let me just put that in F11. So make it a little bit bigger for you. Maybe I can zoom in. There you go. All right, so events and Stream Now. So Stream Now, you'll need the encoder. So that's what Ben was asking about before. It'll say, what's your encoder and what's the URL for that and the RSS and the blah, blah, blah. It'll ask you a whole bunch of stuff. Now, you don't need that. You can just go into your events. You set up your event. It's as simple as I put on the other slide, which is now gone. It's as simple as setting a date and time. So you come into your events, click new event, put in a date, time, and a description, and hit the go live button. So let me pull that back again and show you what that actually means. I'll do it live for you. I can't obviously go live because I'm already live. But if I click this Start Hangout, it actually gives me that other window that says Broadcast Now. And you click Broadcast Now and you'll be live. It's really that simple. All I have is my camera setup. I'm not sure, I actually can't share I can't share the screen of me sharing the screen. So I can't show you what the broadcast screen actually looks like. Actually, I might be able to do that. This will look very funny. Yes, it's going to do that. Inception. So that's kind of, there you go. That's kind of what it looks like. So I'm able to share my screen here. That's the window over the other side. That's not the one I wanted. There we go. That's going to go Inception on us again. So this is the what I'm looking at to see you guys, see myself. But I hit start broadcast and I can hit stop broadcast. But that's basically it. I can invite people. I can mute the microphone and turn it back on again. So beep. I can turn the camera on and off. Give me a little status on my bandwidth, and I can change, the camera or the microphone or all that sort of stuff as well. You can change. I can share different screens. It's really cool. So it's that simple. It's a really, really simple interface. Totally easy to use, and you don't need any other bits and pieces. It doesn't have the ability to share presentation with two people at once in different locations. So it's kind of like if you've used a teleconference, like a video conferencing at a business or corporate before. It's the same sort of thing. So if I want to share my screen, it shares it with everyone that's on that conference. If you want to share your screen, you can share it with everyone on the conference. I couldn't share my screen with you and you share your screen with Shane. That wouldn't work. So I think it does have the ability to share presentation with two people at once. You can in different locations. Yes. Can you share two different presentations to two different people? I don't think so. I don't think it works that way. All right, but super simple. Go and set date, time, description, and title. And then when you're ready, click go. So what else does this work for? So the reason I use YouTube is, I think you can set it up on the main screen, changes depending on who's talking. That's true as well. So if you've got multiple people on a YouTube Live, which is effectively a glorified Google Hangouts, which is what they're using. It's called a Google Hangouts. You can come into this via Google Hangouts. If I get booted, when I come back in, it tries to join me back in as a participant because it is a Google Hangout. That's effectively what it is. But the audio quality is a low, hence all the questions. Oh, maybe is that a little bit better? I've been playing around with Zoom, interviewing an expert, having people listening in the background. The audio quality. So you're saying your audio quality is low, not mine. I'll stop playing with my mic and bashing around for you guys. Sorry about that. So I have heard good things about Zoom. What sort of equipment I use? Is it just a laptop with a laptop mic? Because that is usually kind of unacceptable. And it's purely because of the background noise and the ambience and stuff when they go through the codecs. Yeah, thanks, Ben. Sorry to everyone else. Sorry from Ben. The audio quality does from a laptop mic through the codecs that these systems have, even YouTube Live. If I went through my mic, I won't do it now because it's really terrible. It's sort of echoey and tinny, and sometimes you get reverberation and feedback and stuff. It's terrible. So I went and bought a $40 smart lav, and it's one of the best things ever. Plugs into a smartphone. I needed to buy a little $6 thing to plug it into my new laptop, which was a bit weird, but anyway. But this is the quality, like it's almost podcast quality for $40. So I was really happy with that. And it's really super simple. I can take it anywhere. It's lightweight. It's kind of invisible. And it just plugs into my laptop. I haven't used Zoom yet. It's on my list to test. But as I said, a couple of things I like about Google, about YouTube. So it's really simple to start. But I also use it for recording. So I have built a whole bunch of websites with video introductions and things like that, which I'll show you guys in a minute. I can go live in here and record like an intro or a walkthrough or a service introduction or an upsell video or a sales letter or a sales video or something like that on here. And if I get it wrong, I just delete and try it again. I can set it as unlisted so people can't find it anyway. And then I've got a hosted link on YouTube that's getting sort of SEO juice to my site, even though no one can see it. But the beauty of that is once it's hosted up on YouTube, they've got the ability to do a whole bunch of tweaks. I can tweak the sound, I can tweak the video quality. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that's already built in. So I don't need to have Camtasia or Adobe Illustrator or any of these sort of high-end video recording things, or even a high-end laptop to be able to do all the video processing and stuff. I can pretty much tweak all this stuff on my phone. So YouTube has the ability to have all this in the interface. It also has built-in translations and also built-in subtitles. So you can go to a site called Keepvid, KEEPVID.com. Type in the URL of your video. So you'll get a YouTube video just like you would sharing videos on YouTube anyway. You get your video that you've saved. So say it's a sales video, or say it's a video for a course that you've made for students or something like that, or a run through, or an introduction to your website, an introduction to your app. You can take that video, put it into Keepvid, and download it. You download it in its 720 or I don't think you can get 1080p out of it yet, but high definition version of the video and have it as a video. But that also gives you an SRT file, which is the subtitle. So what does that mean? You could take that and put that together and put it on your in a membership site as a course. You could take the video and add the subtitle in and upload it to Facebook as a Facebook ad or a Facebook post. And video with subtitles is absolutely dominating Facebook. I don't know if you guys have seen like your Facebook profiles lately, but video and words over the top, it's totally captivating and it works. And you can get clicks for ads on Facebook for under 10 cents if you've got video. And the same if you take the same thing and took a screenshot from the same video with exactly the same copy, I guarantee you the same click will cost you over $1. It's crazy. Right, so I've harped on enough about YouTube Live. I love it. I love the versatility. The built-in stuff is fantastic. It's not your high-end Adobe kind of product. So if you're using those already and you're comfortable with them, stick with them because they are better. But if you're just starting out, this is like killer for free. It's so good. And the reusability to be able to put this into your content machine, as we've talked about before, is brilliant. All right, how do you get people to your webinar? So if you've been around before, Ben says laptop with Logitech camera, Behringer dynamic mic. So that's a good one, actually. The mixing desk. So people can hear me clearly and I can hear myself clearly, but the actual recording comes out furry sounding, distortion through my voice only. That's really weird. Zoom is free. Are you using the free version of Zoom? Because they have a paid version. I'm not sure what their customer support is like, but that sounds like a customer support issue. So you could Google Logitech. So you could Google Behringer and Zoom and see if there's some you have to go and set this in your codec, or you need to blah 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 in the settings in Zoom or something. Like it could be something really simple. It could be if you're going through a mixing desk and into a USB port. Yeah, there's a heap of variables there. Could be a number of things. Let me know if you need any more hand with that. Getting back to following up, we're getting very close to the 9 o'clock paid version to the recording. So the audio engineer said it was dithering. Oh, okay. So it could be the codec within the system itself. Cool. All right. So I would reach out to Zoom and ask those guys. I think they'd be more of an expert than me. So rapidexecutive.com/MailChimp. MailChimp is still my favorite tool. I've started using Actionetics, which is built in the back of ClickFunnels, but I think I'm going to stick with MailChimp for a little bit longer. I love it. I know it back to front. the email follow-up sequence for getting people to your webinar is absolutely critical. So in the back of MailChimp, this is what the back of MailChimp looks like if you create a automated follow-up sequence. So this is for one of my products, so the webinar funnel education system that I have built. There is, I think, 3 or 4 emails that comes out of this. You basically trigger when you want it to come up. So immediately when someone subscribes, and then 3 days after that, they send the next one, and it gives them a little bit of an introduction. And then you set this up, and basically people join the list, and they'll go straight into this. So they'll get the first email, and then 3 days later, they'll get the next one. If someone joins the next day, they'll get that first email, and then 3 days after that, they'll get that one. So it's a fantastic sort of evergreen system. And you can use that follow-up sequence to say, when someone joins the webinar list, then give them the link to the webinar, and a couple of days later follow them up. Or you can actually trigger it when the webinar is on and set it to that as well. So it automatically sends when the webinar is. If it's a weekly thing, you can say send on X day, Y day, and Z day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Say they joined on a Tuesday and the webinar's on Wednesday. You could set the second one to go out on Wednesday, which would be the reminder on the day that it actually comes. Cool. Another automated follow-up sequence, and this is in the back of ClickFunnels. So I'm using ClickFunnels for my webinar registration. And in the back of these, for each of a webinar page, this is how they set up theirs. So I guess this is industry best practice for setting up the follow-up sequence to get people to your webinar. So these are the people that have signed up already, but how do you get people that have signed up to actually turn up? So turn-up rates are pretty low industry-wide. It's pretty common to have 200 people register for a webinar and only 20 of them turn up. That's actually quite common. Life gets in the way. People, I mean, how many times have you said, yeah, I'd love to go to that webinar and just never remembered? And that usually comes down to the follow-up sequence, but life gets in the way as well. So having a reminder webinar go out, this one is how it's triggered in the back of my ClickFunnels account for a webinar. So it sends a reminder immediately, and then half an hour before the webinar, it actually sends the webinar. These are all automated emails in the back, and they sort out the titles and all that sort of stuff and the date based on when your webinar is set. It's very clever. I have to set all this up manually in MailChimp. ClickFunnels does it automatically, which is awesome. And they also have this, which MailChimp doesn't have, unless you have a goal set on your website, which you can do. I've tried this manually. It's a bit hit and miss, but it works perfectly flawlessly in ClickFunnels. So if you have an offer or some sort of call to action in your webinar, and you want people to actually see the webinar, or even if it's just a training, you can have a follow-up. So if people actually don't click the link inside of their unique link to go to the webinar for themselves, it'll actually send an email automatically out and say, hey, did you miss the webinar? Did you know you can go back and watch the replay here? Things like that, which is really cool follow-up sequence, and that's automatically done for you. All right, so can you get people to your webinar if you're just starting? So this is something I've shared a lot in my marketing sections, in my paid tracking sections as well. It's the $50 experiment. So I've run hundreds of these, and this is a warts and all version to show you. It doesn't always work perfectly, but it can, and it's pretty easy to follow along. Thanks for sharing that link out, Luke. Okay, the $50 experiment. So my experiment was for an affiliate product that I was running recently. I gave myself a week. It was actually 5 days. I wanted to get 2,500 views, and the 10 by 10 by 10 rule, 10% rule, which is 2,500 people would see your ad, 250 people would click, and 25 of those would sign up. That's pretty reasonable for to expect for a webinar as well. So you could pay to have 2,500 people view, pay for conversions, try and get people to actually go to sign up. So Facebook will actually target you to get people to this end rather than focus the views on this end. 2,500 people through the top of the funnel, and then work your way down. So this is what the funnel looks like. Facebook traffic, 2,500 views. Hopefully we're going to get 25 email subscribers, and then eventually I'm going to go for affiliate sales on the back end. And I was going for a 20% conversion rate on that. So my budget was $50. And this is kind of how I went. So this is warts and all. It wasn't as successful as I had hoped initially. So 15 conversions, I ended up with 2,180 people and $49. But this was a start from scratch, really simple Facebook ad that I ran. I hadn't tested the market. This was coming completely new. This was the first one. I did this live a couple of months back for this group. I wanted to show you exactly how simple it was to run Facebook ads. I wanted to come completely cold to this to show you exactly how easy it was. And if I fell flat on my face, that everyone has an ups and downs. So we started off really well. So it looked like I'd set up the ad reasonably well because Facebook kind of knew what to do with it at first. They obviously run their own testing and stuff. They've got their algorithm and blah, blah, blah in the background. I am aware, guys, it's just hit 9 o'clock, so I'll go really quickly here. I am going to have to run over a little bit tonight to get through this for you, but I think this is important. I do have another session starting at 9, so if you are looking to get onto the Amazon one, the person who's running it's going to be a bit late. But anyway, so you'll see that Facebook kicked off pretty good. So they were hitting people, they were getting conversions, and the cost was reasonably low at the start. The conversions went down, the cost went up. That's Zuckerberg taking his private jet somewhere. And as it just started to pick up again towards the end of the campaign, so this is the second last day of the 5 days, the cost started to go back down and the conversions went back up. And then 5 days was up, so it turned itself off. So I'd set the budget at $10 a day for 5 days. I ended up with 15 conversions and only 2,100 people reached. Obviously, once I jumped in, took the screenshot and went, this was starting to work, I turned it back on again. So this is how easy it is to get paid traffic. And you can get 2,500 people quite easily. And this was a simple video that I'd basically taken from the affiliate website. So it wasn't illegal to take that, but I'd taken it. I didn't create it myself. I just took a video that was doing reasonably well. Back to our old BuzzSumo, went and found a video that was doing well, that already had shares. So people were liking that video. And then I put that video in front of my target market. All right. So this was after I turned it back on. So I was getting a 22% conversion rate on this funnel. This was the website conversion side. This is the back end of ClickFunnels and how easy it is to track all this. So I ended up getting 208 visitors. My target was 250 for 25 signups and ended up 46 signups. So I was really happy with that. Obviously, I turned that Facebook ad back on as fast as I possibly could. All right, can you automate your leads, your conversions, and actually do sales? So Barry asked before if this was going to be all about ClickFunnels. I do have to talk about ClickFunnels because of how amazing it is, especially for webinars. You don't need to use ClickFunnels. You can use your website and YouTube Live. You can use Facebook Live, as I said. There are a whole bunch of other specifically webinar tools like Webinar Jam. There are a couple of others as well that do specifically webinars with this kind of a sales funnel-y type thing. They don't do all of it. ClickFunnels actually does all of it. So it will do the landing pages. It will do the automated sort of pick your date, register your spot registration type stuff. It also does countdown pages. So you could set it up to count down to the date. So you set your date and then just basically try and get everyone to go to your event, and the system will sort it out itself. But they also have these the concept of automated webinars. So if you've got your webinar down pat and it's working really well, you can flick all of the details, all the video and everything into an automated webinar and just sit back and drive traffic. So if you've got products on the back end, this is kind of a one that I've launched recently, basically taking you back through all of these sessions in one go. So it's actually an introduction video is the first one. It's the webinar, and that's introducing this whole 7-day startup concept and the rapid launch phase. It'll take you through the whole lot. So I have the webinar registration, then a built-in countdown page that has the broadcast page. If you want to watch it, sort of technically it's live. It's the original one with the chat box and all that sort of stuff. Or you can watch the replay. And a lot of people would pick the replay because they can watch it right away. Otherwise, they have to wait for the day that it's actually on and the chat box is live, sort of thing. And then at the end of that, there is an offer and the sales pages afterwards. So it'll track all of the conversions for you. And in the back end, it'll also have all of the emails that go out for all of these sections. So it's pushing people back to them. It can see who's actually watched the replay and who hasn't, who's watched the webinar and who hasn't, and it can trigger emails for those. But also, it can tell who's watched and how far they've watched. And if your offer is at, say, 45 minutes through your presentation, to say, hey, I've got this really cool thing, go and buy this product, or go and have a look at this book, or download this sheet or something like that, if you can tell ClickFunnels that it's at 45 minutes, and if people don't see the offer, i.e. they don't stick around for 45 minutes, it will send them an email saying, hey, thanks for joining the webinar. Great to see you there. Sorry you got cut off short. If you missed it, here is the XYZ. It's so cool. All right, so webinar script and sales. If you want to see someone way more effective than me at running webinars, go and have a look at the perfect webinar. So Russell has been running webinars. Basically, he kind of thought up this idea of running a webinar every day or every week for a year before you sort of go pro on webinars. But he has made millions on running webinars. He's absolutely stellar at it. Even if you watch one of his periscopes or something just to see what he does, every single one, he follows this script. Even if it's like an ad hoc kind of webinar, if you go, you can go to Perfect Webinar Scripts. There's a link here. You can go off and grab it. He basically gives you the whole script for free. Very cool. And a whole bunch of training and stuff. So I've grabbed that. I've started using some of the tactics from there as well. It's really cool. Obviously, I don't sell a lot of products through my webinars. My webinars are more training than sales. But if you are looking at sales for your business and running webinars that way, you definitely need to have a look at his free Perfect Webinar Script. He uses it to run all his Inner Circle members' webinars as well. He's had some tremendous success stories from that. I was just listening to Liz Benny, who's a Kiwi, talk about how she went from kind of having to move out of her house to $1 million business in a couple of weeks from running webinars. So very, very cool. Right. So the number one business impact on my business this year, apart from running webinars, was actually the guy that told me to start doing it, which was my business mentor, Brian Harris. So I met him all of about 18 months ago. And when we first met, he was starting this thing called Video Fruit. It's now one of the most successful online email marketing platforms. He's got a launch process. He's got a whole bunch of training courses and stuff that he does, and he's absolutely crushing it. He was crushing it back then as far as I was concerned. You see the look on my face on one of our sessions. Brian's in the zone, obviously, telling me that I should be changing up my business, and I'm sitting there intently taking notes. So I have started doing business coaching as well, and helping out members of this group, members of the meetup, and also some coaching clients that I've had for a couple of years as well, helping them with their businesses. So I can help with all sorts of different types of business, whether you're just getting started or you're ready to launch as well. And I've worked across many industries as well. So I've run e-commerce stores. I'm in the health and fitness industry with that. I've been through corporate and stuff as well. So business to business, anything like that, whatever your business is, starting apps, running websites, all that sort of stuff, I can give you a hand because I've done all of those. My coaching packages start at $197 a month for online. If you are in Perth, then we can meet in person. Obviously, if you're not in Perth, then we can meet on Skype as well, and you get regional email access to me as well. Right, so for you guys that are on the webinar, you guys obviously get a bonus for coming along. I actually am running out of sessions, so if you want to jump on a call with me, I can give you accountability and coaching package. They do range up to $397 a month. There are some tailored ones after that as well. So I have a couple of clients that I work with on a daily basis. But I'll also send you my core funnel website templates that I'm using for my business. These work for most businesses. I actually can tailor one for you, but I've found these for. So the webinar, the best-selling book, the sales funnel, and the video sales page are all available for free. I've set them all up. They all work perfectly, and I can give you those as well. So there's a $497 value in those. Websites can cost thousands, so it's definitely a massive saving. I did mention this a little earlier. I have got the ability to get not only my own sites and reviews, website idea reviews. So I've been through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas through the meetup group. There's 1,500 members in our meetup group. People bring ideas to me all the time. People pitch me all the time. Hey, we could work together on this. People are building websites all the time. I've made 75 websites myself, all sorts of different website platforms and things like that as well. Different niches, different topics. So getting a website review from me can help boost your business. But I also have access to getting a website review from a celebrity, from Dan Norris as well. So I recently did this for one of my clients and they were blown away. They did have a little bit of the stars in their eyes as well from Dan, which I I always do as well because he's such a legend. He doesn't pull any punches, so he'll tell you exactly what to fix and why. And he might not be able to hold the profanity back, especially if he's offended. But it's all good stuff. He wants to help. So I can get you a website review or an idea review and some action steps to follow as well. All right. So normally $12.73, but I can give you tonight, rapidexecutive.com/coaching. If you want to grab a session with me, you can jump on either a 15-minute free session to have a chat. But if you take action tonight, you'll get all of that for just $97. So it's only 1 month worth in that. We'll meet up online. We'll take you through all of that. I'll help you set up your website. I'll go through a review and we'll get some action steps for your business. If you're looking to start something in 2017, then let's get together and take action. All right, I'm going to jump back to me, guys. I hope that was useful tonight. We've definitely run over time. I do apologize for, especially for the Amazon people that are looking to jump on the Amazon FBA meetup group, which happened 11 minutes ago, and yours truly is supposed to be running that. But we did have a really good turnout tonight, and people were very interested, obviously, in running webinars. Hopefully, I've showed you how easy it is to run webinars. Spencer's thanks. Thanks. So any questions about webinars? I'm literally going to have to jump off in a second, guys, but hopefully that was helpful. Luke says, I loved it. Thanks again, Shane. Great to see you all. I hope that was useful. As I said, there's the whole entire section from tonight is available as a PDF with all clickable links. You can go and have a look at that idea matrix, have a look at some of those case studies. All the tools that are mentioned in tonight is in there. KeepVid was probably the only one I didn't. So www.keepvid.com. So Luke put the link into the chat window. But KeepVid is a way to pull videos off hosting sites. YouTube is the most common one. You can pull them off other ones, I think, as well, and has the ability to strip out the audio from the video and also the subtitles as well, which I've used many times. Very cool. It's not the best one, but it does really good. If you are pretty clear when you're talking, it can actually do the subtitles really well. So having that done is really good. So thanks, Luke. Thanks for sharing that again. Cool. And if you want to work with me, if you just want to chat about your business, you can jump on the big red, I think it's there. It's a big red button on the side and grab a spot. I think I've got about 3 spots in my diary this week for a free session. We can jump on the phone for 15 minutes, have a chat, see where you are with your business, find out what your #1 goal is and help you work through that as well. And if you want to take action on your business today, jump on the coaching session. Obviously, great deal for tonight if you jump on that tonight. So that closes at the end of tonight as well. All right, guys, as I said, I need to jump off because I'm double booked. I'm supposed to be on something else. If you are looking to sell physical products, then you can jump onto junglebooster.com/live, and you'll see my beautiful face, and we'll do this again and talk about physical products. But until next week, guys, we'll jump on and talk about automation, tracking people, Facebook pixels, all that sort of stuff, tracking people around the internet, how to follow people up, abandoned carts, all that sort of stuff on next week's session. So hopefully I see you all next week. I'll leave the chat window open so you guys can stick around and chat in there. But hopefully that was useful tonight, guys. Webinars are awesome. Absolutely love them. And they are super, super, super good for your business. whether you're teaching or even selling products. Right, have a great week, guys, and I'll see you same time next week.